Perhaps this morning you woke up and, out of decades of habit, reached across the bed only to find a cold, empty space. Maybe you stood a little too long in the kitchen, holding that one specific ceramic mug, wondering if you should brew 1 cup of coffee or 2. Or perhaps, during a pale golden afternoon in a quiet suburb, a certain song played on the radio, and your heart tightened with an absence that feels impossible to fill. If you know that feeling, if you feel as though a part of your very soul left the room when they did, this video is for you. Welcome to Ancient Wisdom for Modern Souls. Today, we aren't going to talk about getting over it. Instead, we are going to find a small, sunlit path through the dense forest of grief, guided by a wisdom that has comforted hearts for over 2,500 years. At this stage in our lives, society often expects us to be resilient or to accept it as the natural order of things. But the truth is, grief is not a math problem to be solved, and loss is not a disease to be cured. Mourning the person who walked beside you for 30, 40, or 50 years is not a phase you just move through. Grief is not a problem. You see, that hollow ache you carry in your chest right now, it is actually love with nowhere to go. For half a lifetime, your love had a specific address, a specific face, a specific set of hands. Now, that address has changed, and your love feels lost, wandering the halls of your home. You do not need to move on in the way the modern world demands. You do not need to force a smile when your world feels shattered. This pain is the highest tribute to the greatness of the love you shared. Let us not try to fix the pain today. Let us simply sit with it and find a way to transform it from a heavy burden into a quiet, peaceful companion. In ancient Buddhist wisdom, there is a core concept that can offer us a different lens through which to see our loss. It is called Anicca, Impermanence. Please, do not be afraid of this word. Impermanence does not mean that life is cruel or that things are taken away without reason. Imagine your life and your spouse's life as 2 rivers flowing parallel across a vast landscape. For many miles, the rivers merged. The waters swirled together so deeply that you couldn't tell which drop belonged to which stream. But the very nature of water is to flow. Why does understanding Anicca bring peace? Because it teaches us 3 gentle truths. First, everything changes, including this very pain. The agony you feel today will not be the same as the pain of next year. It will soften. It will shift into a quieter, more luminous form of memory. Second, your meeting was a miracle, not a given. When we realize that all things that come together must eventually part, we begin to cherish the years we did have, rather than focusing solely on the moment of parting. Third, they have not truly vanished. They have changed form. Think of a cloud. A cloud never truly dies. It turns into rain, which seeps into the earth to nourish the trees. Look around you. Your spouse is still present in the way you brew your tea, in the specific tilt of your children's smiles, or even in the quiet habits you've adopted. Their seeds were planted in your soul long ago. They are a part of your very architecture now. I want to share a story with you about a woman named Kisa Gotami, who lived during the time of the Buddha. She had lost her only child, a child she loved more than her own breath. In her madness of grief, she carried the small body of her son from house to house, begging neighbors for medicine to bring him back to life. Eventually, she found the Buddha. He looked at her with eyes of infinite compassion and said, "I can help you. But first, you must bring me a handful of mustard seeds. There is only one condition. The seeds must come from a home where no one has ever died." Kisa was filled with hope. She knocked on the first door. They said, "We have many seeds, but my grandfather passed away here last winter." She went to the second house. They said, "Here are the seeds, but we just buried our daughter." The third house, the fourth. She walked through the entire city. Everywhere she went, the answer was the same. The living are few, but the dead are many. As evening fell and the city lights began to flicker, Kisa sat by the roadside. She watched the lights glow and then go out. In that moment, she realized death is common to us all. She was not alone in her sorrow. She laid her son to rest and returned to the Buddha. She no longer asked for medicine. She asked for the path to peace. And you, the weight you carry today is the same weight being carried by millions of souls across the world at this very second. You are not a solitary island in this ocean of grief. The story of Kisa Gotami isn't meant to say everyone suffers, so you shouldn't feel bad. Not at all. It is meant to show that our grief is a thread that connects us to the rest of humanity. Are you doing what Kisa did? Are you searching for a medicine to turn back time, to deny this new reality? In our modern Western world, we are taught to own things. We own our homes, our cars, and we mistakenly believe we own our partners. But the Buddhist lens reminds us, we are all just travelers who happen to walk the same path for a while. They did not belong to you. You do not belong to them. Both of you belong to the infinite flow of the universe. Their departure was not a betrayal or a cruel twist of fate. It was simply their river reaching the great ocean a little sooner than yours. There is a quiet question you might be asking yourself in the dark. If I start to feel better, am I forgetting them? Am I betraying our love by finding joy again? Listen to me very closely. You are allowed to be at peace. Your peace does not diminish the value of the person you lost. In fact, your grief is trying to tell you three things. First, it reminds you how deeply you were capable of loving. Be grateful for the pain, for it is the proof of a life well loved. Second, it reminds you to live more fully for the time you have left. If they were standing here right now, would they want to see you withered in a dark room? Or would they want you to enjoy the roses in the garden you both planted? Third, grief wants you to learn to love yourself, the one who is left behind to carry the flame of your shared memories. You are allowed to smile when a funny memory strikes you. You are allowed to enjoy a good meal. You are allowed to live. Before we conclude our time together, I want to offer you a small practice. You can do this right now, or whenever the waves of memory feel a bit too high. Sit comfortably. Place your left hand over your heart. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply, feeling the warmth of your palm. Exhale slowly. Gently repeat these three healing phrases in your mind. Thank you for walking this path with me. You live on in every breath I take. I choose peace today, so that you may also rest in peace. Breathe like this for a few more moments. Don't try to push the sadness away. Just let it sit there, right next to your peace. That is all. You don't need to do anything else. We began today with the image of a single mug and an empty side of the bed. But I hope that now you can see that mug not as a symbol of loneliness, but as a vessel for the warmth of your memories. And that empty space? It is not a hole, but a sacred room where everything they gave you continues to live. The journey ahead may still be long, and there will be foggy days. But remember, the sun of compassion and wisdom is always there, just behind the clouds. I wish you a quiet evening, a restful sleep, and a heart that feels just a little bit lighter. You are not alone. We are walking this together. If these words brought you even a small moment of comfort today, please let me know in the comments. I would truly love to hear a small story about the person you carry in your heart. If you found value here, please consider subscribing so we can continue this journey together. Next week, we will discuss how to navigate loneliness during the holidays, a time I know can be especially difficult. You can also explore our playlist of guided meditations specifically designed for these tender times. Until we meet again, peace in every breath.